Hey, what's happening? It's your homeboy, Mr. Capone. Hey, check it out. Podcast, link below. Spotify, iTunes, Apples. Make sure everybody follow it so you can get the exclusive from there. You feel me? And also, all the podcasts and vlogs are also on the link below on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you add it. This time I'm posting this full clip of the interview right here. But hey, these are where all the podcasts is at. All right? You have a good one.
Hey, what's happening? Another episode. Well, one of the first episodes that I got podcast that I'm going and starting to build. We got Carolyn Rodriguez in the building today.
Hey.
Our own little jingles. And know more about Carolyn and her history and her journey into music. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's been like since birth, I guess, you know?
I feel you.
Same thing as a lot of our stories, I guess. Like, we just were always in it.
So what's, like, city-wise, where were you raised at? And just to tell the public and the people, what city were you raised in?
Yes. So I'm from North Carolina, raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, same place as J. Cole. And then I moved to Arkansas for a couple of years to go to high school. My parents separated. Then I went to Huntsville, Texas to go to college because my dad is a professor there. So I went there, and while I was getting my accounting degree, I fell in love with the music scene in Houston.
Yep.
Yeah, and while I was in college, just started doing talent shows with the radio station in Houston, and then I don't know, it was music from then on. Like, started going into studios. And
so when was your first song that was out there in public? You know what I'm saying?
Like first commercially released.
Something
ever?
like it, yeah.
Juan Gotti's album.
Oh, Juan Gotti.
Yeah,
okay,
it's a song called Crush.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, he
dope.
was the first person to put me on any kind of commercially released
I didn't
album.
know
Yeah.
that. Hey, shouts out Juan Gotti for that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's the big bro. Yeah.
Hey, so you basically, and how, like, were you like still a teenager or you already out of the teenagers scene?
No, I was in my 20s already. Like,
Okay.
I was like my last year in college, basically.
Gotcha.
I graduated like in 03.
Yeah.
And I was already moving into Houston. Like, I was already in Houston, like trying to get in studios and record songs. And like, because I'd always written songs, but
Yeah.
I was trying to do like the whole, let me put a demo together. Because back then, you know, I mean, that's all we could do.
Yeah, no, I remember those times, old school times, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good music that came from Houston at one time. Well, when I was in the rap game, you were probably before this time when Chamillionaire, Slim Thug,
Yeah.
and all of them came out, and before that, there was a whole Texas movement of Hispanic artists blowing up.
Yes.
And I remember when I first started, I'd go to Houston and I would see all these little CDs, and I'm like, they got their own thing going over here when I barely started from my side, you know? So,
Yeah.
So yeah, good things, good memories out there. What was the first song what was the name of the song, the first one that released out there like that, or got people's attention, actually, I could say?
Oh my God. That got people's attention. It would have to be off of the SPM album. It'd have to be that Dopehouse Family track.
Got you. And that was in what, like early 2000s or something, maybe?
2006.
Oh,
yeah.
damn, way over there, 2006.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, yeah, we'll get more into that later about the whole situation about Dopehouse and how you became in it. So before that, you weren't even part of that whole Dopehouse movement, or
No, I was like still in college.
Okay.
So I had just heard about Dopehouse. Like, Baby Bash
Yeah.
was still Baby Beach at the
Beach,
time. I
Beach,
met
yeah,
Beach.
yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
he's the first person to put me on a song from
Yeah.
Dopehouse.
Dope,
It never
dope.
released, but he was the first person I was in the studio with over there.
Yeah, Beach. I
So
remember.
shout out to him too.
Baby Beach. I remember
Yeah.
seeing his CD out there too, and I was like, okay, who's this guy? And I remember he came from California. He moved out there,
Yeah.
something like that, you know?
Yeah, he was signed to Dopehouse then too.
And he was before my time, but I remember that's what was going on over there. And then, so when did you start basically connecting with Dopehouse and all that situation?
Well, it was like I was just doing talent shows still. I was in college still. Went on to the radio station, the hip hop radio station chat room. Hey, I'm looking for studio time. This guy hit me up and he was like, hey, I've got studio time. I told him I got $100. I can get 2 hours. He's like, I got you 2 hours. And he gave me the address to Dopehouse Records. And that's where Payne Studio was at. So it was like a total, like, it just happened that way.
Yeah, so basically you went there, were you doing like a verse for someone, a hook, or what was it, or just a full song by
A
yourself?
full song by myself was my first song that I wrote by myself, and I had my first beat, everything. Like, I was doing my first full song, and I wanted to record it. And I ended up recording it over there with Payne at Payne Studio at Dopehouse.
Yeah.
And I never left because he just told me, hey, like, they really liked my voice, and he told me, like, if you can do some hooks for me, keep coming back over here, you know, and I can get you studio
Yeah.
time. We'll trade it for studio time. I was like, sure, yeah.
And then at that time, did you meet all the other artists at Dopehouse, or you're just doing it by yourself kind of thing?
No, I met Twin Berettas, and I met Juan Gotti at the time over there, and Bash, and Baby Beach.
And
yeah.
Juan Gotti, was he part of Dopehouse before when you first did a song with him, or did he come?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was.
He
already
was.
In. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was your ticket into that little circle, slowly sliding in, right? Kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
Got you. So then that was in the early 2006, you're saying? Right?
That was 2000. Actually, the
should've
Juan
been
Gotti
earlier,
album
right?
came out in 05.
Okay.
So we did that one in 04. But that's when I started working with SPM too, was like 04.
Got
so
you. Because
things didn't get released.
Because I remember when I first came out, I didn't really know too much about that, but maybe around 2003, 4, I started hearing about the journeys that they were doing over there, and with Dopehouse signing with Universal Records and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you were around in those times?
No, I was not. Well, I kind of came around, but then I left.
After?
Yeah, I
Okay.
left and came back. And then when I came back was when Juan Gotti first got his deal with Warner Latina.
Okay, yeah,
He got his upstream deal.
Yeah.
And that's when he was just starting to blow up, you know, with his
Got
stuff.
you, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
his
Texas.
first album did so well independently, and then he got nominated for the Latin Grammy.
Yeah.
And that's when he got his deal. So that's when I came around and started doing, actually, I was doing royalty accounting at
Gotcha.
Dopehouse.
Oh, shoot, accounting. Oh, man. So you know about that money. That's
Yeah, I
right.
got my degree.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So you started doing different stuff, and then what year was it when you did the first song with the SPM and him, and the first song you did together with SPM, or did you do a song with him?
Yeah, it was like talking about 01. He had
Oh,
told
shoot,
me
01.
he had me go to Happy Perez's house
Okay.
and record something, but it never got released. It was supposed to be for the Lone Star Riders album. They were doing
Okay.
like a Lone Star Riders compilations back then. All the guys from Dopehouse and Happy Perez, they had put out these Lone Star Riders albums.
He had
yeah.
a couple hit records, right, with some people.
Oh man, he's still doing hits. Like
Oh,
that
shoot,
boy,
okay.
Miguel, and all the big hits. I mean,
Oh, he's doing something. Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember him back in the day. So yeah.
that was part of Miguel blowing up. I think was Happy Perez.
Yeah, Happy
Yeah.
Perez. You heard of Charles Chavez?
Oh, yeah.
and signing Bash to, I forgot.
Latium.
Latium, and then Latium signed with, I don't know if it's Motown or it was just big record
Yeah.
labels back then. Yeah, and the whole Texas circuit was going. Yeah, I remember that. And then so you had a song with him, and that release, it came out or no?
Never came
Oh,
out.
it never came out.
Nah, that was before he got locked up and everything.
So what was the first song that you did with him that came out, or is there a song that?
Yeah, I
out there with
believe it
him?
was Blazing Janie, a song called Blazing Janie.
Okay, and that's out there on YouTube and all that.
Oh yeah,
stuff?
it was
Okay.
from that same When Devil Strike album from the
Okay, and that album came out later,
06.
right?
Yeah,
Okay,
but we worked on it for 2 years.
Because I remember that album, did it go through Selecto Hits or something like that?
I think at the time it did go
Yeah.
through Selecto. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It hit a lot of Billboard charts.
So I remember that record because this is the time that he's already been incarcerated, right? He was already locked up, and
For
there was a
3
hype
years,
of like
4
he
years,
got
yeah.
locked up, and people like me like, why did he get locked up? And it was just the hype that he got locked up at that time. Yeah, so I remember those
Okay.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about so now you're in the journey with him, and you did some stuff. Now he gets locked up, and were you still in contact with him while you were out and he was busted, or?
No, not until Payne called me back in the studio to start working with him again.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I didn't know him like that.
Yeah, you didn't know.
Just
him.
met him like a couple times at the Dopehouse.
Got
That
you,
was
okay.
it. Then that one time it happened, that was it. And then went back to my life. You know what
Got
I
you,
mean?
got you.
But then Payne called me back and was like, hey, we need you on some stuff. And then once I got in there and started singing on stuff, then I started pretty much singing on everything.
So you were on that album, The Devil Strikes, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Helped put it together.
All right, I remember that record that came out, and then so you were still living in Houston at that time.
Yeah.
Got you. So when did that transformation make that when you start talking to him more on the phone, or like obviously he was incarcerated, so you guys probably talked, collect calls, or not collect calls, but he's locked up, and
Yeah.
you're accepting his call. When did that start happening, or was that happening when you already came out to the West?
No, so what had happened was TDC, you can't make phone calls. Not until the year 2014. That was the first year that TDC was able to do phone calls. So before then, everything was through letters, writing, wrote each other for years.
Yeah.
Also visiting, I would go visit with his family so we could work on music. And
Got you.
everything was done through visits and letters, everything. There was no phone calls. 2014, I was already here in LA.
Okay,
I moved out to LA in 2012.
Yeah, so I want to know when was the time that you moved out to the West Coast?
That was 2012.
And there was other people I'm not going to put on blast, but there's a lot of people on the streets who were bootlegging that stuff because they seen it playing on the radio.
Yes.
And their label wasn't doing numbers, so they're like, let's just steal their stuff. It's playing on the radio, and they actually, in a way, promoted the music too by getting it out there a lot, and they bootlegged it, and it got more known in the West Coast.
And that's what he used to say too. He's like, well, I can't, like, we can't control all the bootlegging. At that time, bootlegging was at an all-time high. You know this.
Well, I mean, I'm on the streets. Like, my label, what we had, no one bootlegged because I was on the streets. But you seen other bootlegging. I seen people would do it.
Yeah.
And it was always those labels that couldn't get stuff going for themselves. And they were mad. So they're like, let's just steal. This is the hottest thing over there that they don't know. Or this guy's not. I mean, there was Little Rob bootlegs. There was MB Rider bootlegs. There was Dopehouse bootlegs. So though everybody shared it and pushed it because they were making money eating off those guys' hard work. You know what I'm saying? So me, like, I was in that circle on the streets, but they wouldn't touch my stuff because they're gonna get a straight, slapping, But they're getting their money and they were doing what they were doing. But yeah, bootleg became, because music was big on the streets. So if you can control an album. Like, to me, if someone bootlegged me in those times, they would have made it. You know what I'm saying? They would have, like, made so much money.
Exactly.
But the good thing is I was on the streets.
Exactly.
So you always got to keep it. So every youngster in the music game, whether it's now or then,
that's good
keep
advice.
Your ears on the streets.
Definitely.
Streets is where it's at.
I totally agree with that, because I was the one out there pushing that album, and I was the one out there seeing the bootlegging. So I caught a bootlegger myself in Vegas at the swap meet.
Oh, yeah.
I had the album in my hand, and I seen him have it. I'm like, how do you have this album? Like, I just got it.
Oh, you could tell stories. We went to the alleys, beat up fools, like, tore down shops, put shops on fire almost. Like, we never let no one get away. And the only ones that tried were, in the alleys, because you got these guys who are not from America and they're selling, so they don't even know. But those are the only ones who were trying to get away with it, but they got quickly realized, like, hey, these guys are on the streets. They're gonna walk right here in the alleys and catch us.
It's not worth it at the end of the day to do that if somebody's out there in the streets, like.
So back to where we're going. So now the music is hitting the West Coast. You made a smart decision. You know what? I'm moving to the West Coast. First of all, was that a smart decision, you think? Moving to the West Coast, or you think it was better to be back in the hubs where it came from for your
honestly, like, it was the best decision that I ever made, like, for my life, because at that time in 2012, like, Juan Gotti was the one,
California love.
Juan Gotti, again, was the one that brought me over here and kept bringing me over here. He was the one that pushed my single with him to Pocos Pero Locos, like, see, you need to come out here and do music.
Yeah.
Like, this is where you belong. And he took me out here so many times. That's when I linked up with, like, Frost. I did some stuff for Frost. Like, I was doing stuff with artists out
So
here.
speaking of that, who have you done records with in, like, video-wise, or really got in the studio with in Cali artists when you moved out here? And did they know that you were part of that movement? And, like, name some of the artists that you've done it with.
But when I moved out here, I would say the first person I linked with was Chino Grande.
Okay.
And we ended up doing the song Shine On Me.
Got you.
And that one just kind of, like, took off. And I'd also work with Miss Crazy.
Miss Crazy. What song is that with Miss Crazy?
It's called a song called Sedated.
Okay. What else artists is out there?
Let's see. King Little G.
King Little G. What song you did with him?
Well, we did a few songs, but the main one, which is, like, one of my most famous songs now, is Make You Mine.
Make You Mine, okay.
The love song, because we both don't really do love songs. We linked up for that one.
Okay.
Gosh, who else? I don't want to forget people.
Criminal that you played.
I'm sorry. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to forget people.
Yeah.
Criminal, yes. I've done several songs with Criminal.
That's one of your biggest YouTube ones you have out there, right?
You Can Find Me.
You Can Find Me, yeah. And
I
think that's on the High Power channel, or is it? Or is it or
maybe.
not? I can't remember.
I think so. I think so. But yeah, that one's constantly. Yeah, people love that song.
Because I know it was on the West Side Oldies project that he brought out. I think it was, and it probably was, but I'm not sure.
And it had just came out, I think. I ended up doing a show with you and Oxnard or something right after that song came out. Ended up performing the song and everything. So I started getting some shows. I started getting a lot more shows on the West Coast after all that stuff. And that's what I really wanted to do, was expand my fan base and let people know that I had my own music and that I just wasn't someone's backup singer.
Yep.
Because That's what I was when I came out here. Nobody knew who the fuck I was.
Yeah.
They didn't say, "Oh, that's the girl
You
on
were
SPM
definitely.
shit."
I'm gonna speak on your behalf from what I know, because I know you came out here and we didn't really link up in the studio, but I just seen you grinding and like working with all these artists, and I'm like, that's how you do it. Come into the city and really getting the best artists from the city, first of all, because sometimes you can't even connect with the best artists.
That's true.
So you might just be starting but you did it with everyone's camp who was already pretty big.
Through Twitter, believe it or not.
And you
That's
started.
how I met you. I think it was Twitter.
Yeah, so I mean, you just started networking with everybody and start building a name, and then now you have hits with a lot of people with songs that you sang the hook from, like. You said Criminal, G, different people out there, Chino Grande song. So there's a lot of hits. And then you start getting your name established in the West, and still people in Houston remember who you were also.
Oh, yeah. It made them want me more.
Yeah. Okay,
it's weird. Yeah. It's so backwards, like the psychological thing. And I always tell people this, and this is my advice. Leave your city. Yeah. Like, oh, nobody shows me love in my city. Leave. Exactly. Then they're going to love you. Then they're going to want you. That's just the way it is.
Hey, there's one thing, like, this is off the topic, but just for the youngsters out there, like, people in LA don't really leave LA. And what I've noticed, the only artist that, well, obviously I do it, but the only other artist that did it was Nipsey. He used to go to New York. He used to, like, shoot videos in New York. For all these new artists, you got to leave the city. You got to explore and go to different things. And we were talking about it, too.
That's one of my favorite artists too, Nipsey Hussle. So
this new generation so confused because some people in Cali are acting Texas, and people in Texas are acting Cali.
We've seen it because we're all like all over the place.
The hardest essays are from Texas, are using those words, and over here we're using words that people in Texas use. Yeah. From those Edgar haircuts to the
I know the Edgars,
and that's coming from Texas and this and that. And now Cali's acting like it's all. We're in a big mumble jumble time where everybody forgot where they're from and they're just clicking onto the hot things of each area.
COVID. Blame it on COVID. COVID got everybody crazy.
But hey, it is what it is. So, so let's get down to the thing. So now you're in LA. Now you're in Cali. Who's the artist? Like, I know Pinks. Is that one of the first ones you really bonded with and start hanging out with? Or was that one of the first ones you start clicking up with out here?
You know what? I linked up with my boy Smitty. Out here, we met, and he started rolling with me. It was me and Smitty. And then after that, I actually met Pinks a long time ago. We met at a car show. Okay. And I remember she came up to
Which car show was this?
I want to say it was Vegas, the main one, the biggest one.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was Vegas, and I was at a booth that, because I used to post up with a boy's Crazy Joe. They would have a booth out there, and I would go there to sling my
Crazy Joe
CDs.
from
Denver.
Yeah, crazy. Shouts out Crazy Joe.
Yeah, they showed me a lot.
You still need to book me, fool. Yeah. So so Crazy Joe and all that, and so let's go back to Pinks now. So then you started basically hanging out with Pinks and a little bit more and stuff like that.
Well, this is how we first initially met. This was a long time ago at the Vegas car show. She actually came up to me at the booth, and she had a CD in her hand, and she was like, "Hey, can you play my new single?" And I was like, you know what? I never seen another chick at the car show slanging CDs besides me. Yeah. Like, I was always the only girl at the car show, right? With their music. And I'm like, there's another one? I'm like,
and she told you to play her CD?
And asked me if I would play her single. Damn. And I was like, hell yeah.
She's pressing on you. That's right.
And then I had to respect that too. Because I'm like, oh, she's a hustler like me. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, sure. And we played the single. So I didn't talk to her again. Yeah. I saw her at car shows and stuff. Didn't talk to her again until I was out here. And we did a show, I think, in Santa Ana. Okay. And it was, I performed the Chino Grande song because he was locked up. Yeah. So I performed it. And I think Miss Crazy was on there, Lala Romero. So Pinks came out. They brought Pinks out on stage. Gotcha. And then that's when we started talking again.
I think I heard about that. Yost Theater or something like that?
Yeah. It's on my YouTube, I think. Pinks is on stage with me, vaping.
Gotcha. Oh, that vape in those days? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Hey, she was one of the original.
Yeah.
No, so that's how I started talking to her again. I want to say that was like 2013, 14 maybe. And then for some reason we just, clicked. She was going through some things where she was touring, when she was on the bus. Yeah. And then
so
we
basically
just started hanging out.
two women's that are
in the
out
same
there
industry.
hustling. One's originally from Houston, one's from Cali, and you guys are, your music endeavors of hustling is connecting together. You guys are vibing on the hustle mentalities, because she was one of the original hustles of the game. For anybody don't know, she's sold probably 1 million CDs, hustled 1 million CDs. That's why now she's chilling, whatever she's doing. But she knew the game. She knew the business. She wasn't just an artist that just rapped and was like a puppet on the strings.
Exactly.
She knew who was the players. She knew about who's bootlegging. She knew about all the trickery. She knew about all the fakes, the reels.
She was one out there putting in all the grind,
Exactly.
all the groundwork.
So she seen the real where people didn't, some artists never even know, they don't even know themselves, but she knew more about some artists that knew about themselves because she's out there and she knows.
And that's why I can relate to her, because that was me. That's me out there by myself, pushing my shit. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's gonna do that for you. You know, she had a label, she had you guys, but I didn't have anybody. Yeah. But I respected that, because I was like, man, there's not many of us who can even survive that. Females, because it's just so hard of an industry.
And she's very outspoken, and if someone is basically up to some dirty tricks or someone who's no good, she's gonna lay it on the line. There's so many people in our own circle that I'm not gonna even go there. That she had to put online. There was guys that were on our tour bus that had bad, allegations or something. Boom, they got kicked out. These guys were straight killers on the streets, and we had to turn our back on them because of the dirty stuff that. So she was very outspoken.
Once she sniffed out dirt, she's like, she's quick to.
And I always say, if anyone could run their mouth, it's a female, and she ran it. She let it know, I'm a G. We keep it quiet. We don't talk too much, but she would expose it and let it be known. And we're there for the, if somebody wants to trip, we're right here. But yeah, she was letting it know. So speaking on that, so her being so outspoken. And knowing that at this time you're already in a relationship with SPM, correct?
No.
Oh, okay, you weren't. Okay.
You know what? I wasn't. I don't think I was.
Okay, whether you were or
I don't think I was, but I was. But
talking.
We definitely, yes, we were definitely talking at the time, and I know that her and I discussed it off top.
Yeah,
right?
So that's where I want to get to.
Yeah.
For her to be hanging out with you for her previous history of exposing, I'm sure she bring up situations, and you started coming to Cali and feeling the vibe of different people, especially her, because she's on that real tip.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she had a discussion about you, about his allegations and stuff like that. So how did did she bring that up eventually in time? How did that you don't have to go in detail, but she did bring it up to you, right?
Yeah, she brought it up to me the first night we really hung out. Me and her hung out. I think it was, Smitty was with me too. We were in Albuquerque. So she brought it up to me the first night we hung out. So we got that discussion out of the way. Yeah. Because I feel like at the end of the day, real recognize real. So we were just two real people connecting, and just being real and honest with each other. Yeah. And she respected my side and I respected her side. And after that, it was just okay, we got this out of the way. You know what I mean? And we've been more like
out
family.
of the way, but it still was lingering, right? So basically,
it's always been there.
Yeah.
It's always been there. Yeah.
Because I know for a fact that that's when she was hanging out with you. And back of my head, I'm like, she's with this guy that has, bad paperwork. I'm from Southern California. And it's not about Southern California. I'm just the paperwork is bad around the world. I could go to UK, I could go to anywhere in the world, and the allegations that were put on forth were negative. So I seen her hanging out with you, and at that time, I already know that you guys were already in the communications with that artist SPM. And I even hit her up hey, what's going on with that? And she would tell me, yeah, I chop it up. And she's a female, so it's a different thing. But how much pressure or how much, I'm sure that came, there's going to be more people than just me. And we'll talk about us because we obviously been on the road now doing shows. And we brought it up. Yeah. But how much the beginning stages, did people bring it up to you? Or how did that go down?
People always brought it up to me. So I dealt with that from day one, right? Yeah. When I was just pushing the music when I first came out, because keeping it 100%, nobody would have known who I was without him. He's the one that put me out there, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So nobody would have known who I was without him. So of course I was associated with him from jump.
Wait, not true, because you came to LA and you contacted me to do a hook, and I didn't know too much. I was like, hey, I Googled the songs. Hey, sounds all right, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, technically not all the way.
I know. But what I'm saying is, like, as far as even people knowing who I was in the first place, right? That was who put me out there. That's when people started knowing who I was. That's how I started getting. Even though Juan Gotti is the person that did put me on the road, he got me. And I owe him like my life.
Out Juan Gotti,
I owe him my life. Like I could never like repay Juan Gotti. I
So
mean,
speaking of that, let's get to that subject. So
it's just like
we're already bringing it up to you
really
a little bit
frustrating.
here and there, but you're staying loyal to your situation.
Yeah.
Pinks is bringing it up to you, and you're staying loyal to your situation. And then next, I know you guys are chilling together, you and Pinks hanging out, and you guys build a bond. And then from there, I heard, you were selling. I don't know what it was. It was micheladas, kind of, right? Something like that.
Pink chiladas.
Yeah, pink
the
chiladas. Yeah. So you guys had some pink chiladas, and you were selling it. And this is where, to me, it all sparked up.
Yeah.
For you to like kind of, because you're already getting this pressure from the people, not the West Coast, but I'm sure everyone around the world who been in these situations. Hey, you dealing with this guy, but you obviously blocked it out of your ear. Or what, you're just focusing on your thing.
Well, yeah, I believe he was innocent, so it was like that didn't matter when you're in love. It's like it doesn't matter. Love is blind.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you didn't really look into his paperwork and stuff like that, right?
Why? Yeah.
Okay, so you were just more just into him as a person,
Yeah.
but not really looking into his background, kind of thing.
Yeah, we
right?
had been talking,
Okay.
been friends, been working together, so that we had a business relationship, working relationship, and a friendship.
Got
So,
you. And then we'll get to later when we start bringing it up to you, but that's a
Yeah.
whole different situation. So people rolled up on you. I had little homies roll up on you and tripping on you like, hey, this, the whole SPM thing, because, homies on the street don't play. And you were just, hey, I'm doing my thing. And it got to the point where, well, you weren't getting help from nobody. You were still hustling. You're in a relationship with this guy. If I'm in a relationship with a female, first of all, I wouldn't put her out in danger like that. I wouldn't even put her out there. But, it is what it is. You're out there hustling with a guy who's probably has a lot of money, should have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And should be able to financially put you in $1 million house and put you in $1 million push to your music if, you guys are in a relationship. But, everybody's different. So
when this thing first happened, you came over here. Remember? We had a talk. We sat here and talked for like 2 or 3 hours about the whole thing.
Exactly.
And it was just kind of like we really didn't know. Like I didn't know what to do. I mean,
Exactly.
who would know what to do?
No, you're a female and you're not a man, and you don't. That stuff is different from a female to be with somebody who doesn't know. I mean, obviously, you should kind of check into that, stuff. And that's a question I would like to ask you in front of the public. I mean, when you got with him, you didn't even check his paperwork. You didn't pay attention to what he was doing. I mean, he was a convicted. He basically has been down for 20 years. I mean, how long? Maybe 20 years, 15 years, whatever it is. He's been down. He has multiple cases of cases that are against him. He has cases of kid pregnant. And tell me this ain't true, or is this false or true? He has a girl pregnant that's under 18 years old, and he had a baby with someone that was under 18 years old. Yes or no?
Yeah, when he was 22, he had a baby with someone who was 13.
13. So right there, I mean, it's hard to say you're innocent in my eyes and probably in the court of law. So did that ever reflect you, or did you didn't even pay attention to that stuff?
He got her pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He got her
I mean,
pregnant.
you, it's like, hey, you're out there this is my gangbang perception. You're out on the streets. Somebody rolls up on you, like trips on you, and you have a gun in your hand, and you push the trigger, right? And the guy ends up dying, right? You have just committed a murder. The guy's going to get locked up. He's going to be handcuffed. He's going to face 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, 20 years, life, whatever it could be. But he is going to be convicted because he pulled the trigger. Now, that's to me the same way he pulled the trigger, right? Like he had someone underage, which is already wrong. That's called almost premeditated, even if you know or not know. But you already went and you're in a situation with someone who's young. But the worst part is when you pull the trigger and when you got proof, like you're on the camera now, because the kid is underage, that is a conviction. Like, you can't, like, they got you on the camera. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know if he was really tripping on me. I don't know if he was really my enemy.
But that's the thing. That's not the case that he was in there for, right?
But there's many cases, right? I mean, that's
just one. The one case he's in there for has nothing to do with that, but that is what got him convicted on that case. Yeah. That is what convicted him.
So what did he get busted for? What is the case?
The case against him is for sexual assault on a 9-year-old.
Ooh.
So it has nothing to do with the 13-year-old, but that's what they used to convict him.
Well, that one's a guarantee. So that's a slam dunk. So as a prosecutor in the court of laws, they got their proof. That's all they need. They can trial that. They can bring up, from what I heard, and I don't know how true this is, because I did my homework and we did our streets pursuit in Texas, and I talked to people that used to know him in the past. They told me that there was over like 30, 40 people that had charges against him, and they go, look, homie, we stay away from him no more. We don't deal with him no more. But he has all these allegations on him, and they kind of, to me, they told me, yeah, it's kind of true, right? But that's just a he say, she say talk, right? Could be out of fear telling me that. It could be just
there's no other charges on him.
But
sure,
I mean, but
just that one.
But was there a case of multiple people that came and said, hey, he was with us and they were underage? I mean, I heard
this was during the trial.
Yeah.
During the trial,
Yep.
that's when they got some people
Okay.
to say, hey, I was there, but
there was a lot. I mean, there was I've
I don't
heard,
know how many. I'm not sure because, like I said,
Okay.
I wasn't even
You weren't
around.
involved in that, yeah.
I wasn't around at all.
Yeah, so I
was still in school.
For me, I mean, this is a whole different thing. It's not. I'm not your questions, but from what I was told, there was multiple people and blah blah blah. But end of that situation.
Yeah, like I don't even.
Yeah. So
No one even.
now you're with this guy and he's got these allegations. I'm sure it came to your attention, right? Like people start asking you, because I know we bring it up to your attention. Me and many of the people that I surround with, we bring it up, and obviously we didn't trip on you like we want to fight you kind of thing, but we kind of gave her our little schooling about how we felt about that situation.
Yeah,
so
I went out into this world, into these streets, knowing that, and knowing how people would react to me, and I've gotten it before. You can ask Juan Gotti, you can ask Lil G, the people, and Rashid, the people I'm on the road with, they get it too.
Got you.
You know what I mean? We've all been through it.
Yeah, so now you're on the road, and then now you're hanging with Pinks, who's very outspoken. So, to me, he put it online. He put it on blast. He went out there to hang you dry in front of the public.
Well, yeah, to get people to hate me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I can get my fans to hate you in a heartbeat, and that's basically what he's saying.
To every human being, to me, is like you might be an artist and you might have power, but you can never play your fans just because you're a celebrity. And to me, he was doing that. He's like, look it, guys, follow my lead. This is what we're gonna do. And his whole demeanor was to destroy you, break you down. From my side of angle, this is my opinion, and put you in a situation like you're a traitor. You're basically going against him.
I'm a snake.
Yeah. And to use you. So now, obviously, when that happened, I know more people were in your ear. It gave more opportunity to people talk to you like, hey, look what he's doing. Look kind of person is. Did you start seeing things about him that you didn't see before? Because somebody to put somebody on dry like that, on blast on the internet, is very disrespectful. I mean, there's a thing. I'm a respectful person. I got a lot of enemies, but I will never talk about them on internet because that's like pissing on someone's grave kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So he put you on blast.
Somebody that you supposedly love more than anything in the world.
Yeah, and then you're basically, and someone who's worked with you.
Who's supposed to be your one, because marriage is one, you're one person. So it's like.
So how was this taken to your perspective? How did you feel about that? And how did you feel about that whole situation? Do you feel betrayed? You feel like, oh, what it is? How did you feel?
Oh man, I mean, of course, betrayed, like super heartbroken. Like, of course, like the person that you put above everyone else in this whole world did that to you. Like, I literally, when you marry someone, you put that person first. Like, that is your everything. You know what I mean? Under God, under everything. And that's just, I was raised that way. I was raised that you don't have children until you're married. All that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Like, I'm raised in the old school way when it comes to that, really conservatively. So, yeah, for that just left me like broken. Like, what?
And did you ever think he would do something like that?
I didn't think he would really do it. I really didn't think he would do it because he threatened me before.
Yeah.
He threatened me so many times. Like, all I got to do is this, and I can say this, and I'll record it.
And do you feel like that's a sense of like someone who's trying to flex their power too much? I mean,
well, just someone trying to show that he can, that literally he made me and he can break me, basically, by saying, you're nothing without me. All I have to do is put this out here and I can take everything away from you. Everything you have is because of me. Every penny you make is because of me. I mean, he said that to me so many times. That's like the broken record line. Every penny you make is because of me.
That's crazy.
So that's how the whole deal was. Like, oh, yes, of course I pay your bills. Every penny you make is because of me.
Some kind of God-like attitude, right? Like,
it's definitely been like that. It's been like that the whole time, and I just got tired of it. That was the reason I quit working for him. I quit working for Dopehouse. I quit doing that. The last thing that I did for Dopehouse Records was I put out that Telephone Road album. I got with the artwork person. I didn't get paid to do any of that administrative stuff. You know what it takes to put out an album.
Yeah.
So I did all the work. I put all that out, the artwork, everything. You know what I'm saying? That was the last thing I did for him. And I was like, I'm going to do this for you, but I don't want to work for you anymore. And that's when I got my bus and got on the road. And also at the same time, which is another factor that people don't know, is that we had gotten in trouble and I wasn't allowed to see him anymore. So I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. No contact, no nothing. So.
Damn.
And I was loyal to him. Like, it didn't matter.
And he basically.
That was my husband. I was still loyal to him.
And he just put you on public and hung you dry. Because from what I remember, I was kind of like, you know, like, hey, Pinks, what's up with this? You know, she's dealing with this guy, this, da-da-da-da-da. And from what I would hear, like, not to say you were backing him up, but you were like, you wouldn't talk negative, right?
Never.
So you were always like, kind of like holding his own, even though we knew, but it's hard for us to talk crap to a female because you're a female, but like you just were holding your own. But then by him doing that on public, like to hang you dry, like literally hang you in public, basically was crazy. And then I'm sure more people who hadn't have the confidence to tell like it's because, you know, Pink's told you like it is. I've told you like it is. People in my circle tell you like it is about that. And I'm sure some artists maybe didn't say, because, you know, some artists are like, hey, I want to be neutral. I'm just trying to make fans. Yeah.
Every artist that I came out here to work with would tell me that off top. Hey, I don't mess with this guy, but hey, I fuck with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's how it was. Yep. From Criminal to Chino G to everybody. I mean, and even Conejo, another, you know, shout out to Conejo. And he told me the same thing. And it was like, it was a respect thing. It was like respectfully, you know what? Yep. And with me and you, it was always like that. Yeah. Always respect. And even with Pinks, you know, like, it was always respect. Yeah. Like with certain things, I'd be like, please, Pinks, like, just don't say nothing, you know? It's just, you know, it's okay.
So basically that
you know what I mean?
Opened the door for, like, situations to be, you to realize his real demeanor in life or whatever. And I'm pretty sure you still were kind of believing it. Like, maybe he was just mad. Maybe, I mean, obviously when you get to that level, you should, it'd be like, you messed up, you disrespected in public, but as a female still loving somebody or something, you might still get done dirty and you still believe that there's some goodness, right? Mm-hmm. So how long did you keep kind of going through this? It's still like believing that this could, maybe he's untrue, or maybe he just was mad, or, I mean, did you believe that, or how did it go from there? Yeah,
so after that, first I was in initial shock, right? People just keep calling me. I had my phone off for like a whole day. Like I was like, fuck this, I'm not answering my phone. But like after that, and he kept trying to call me. And I wouldn't answer the phone. And then, you know, my manager, best friend, everything to me, Athena.
Shouts out Athena.
You know, always had my back. It's my best friend. That's right there. She came up there and helped me, and she was there for me, you know what I mean? Like, for everything. And she answered the phone, and she was telling him, like, you know, it's fucked up what you did or whatever. And, he told her, I can fix this real quick. All I got to do, I'm just going to fix this real quick. Don't even worry about, I can fix this. And I guess he ended up putting out another phone call, video, whatever, with his daughter to put on her YouTube channel instead of their YouTube channel or whatever. Deleted that video, but it didn't matter because it had already been re-uploaded like 1 million times, that's why it's still out there.
Yeah.
They deleted it. And then he was like, and literally in that other video, I was just mad. So everybody go ahead and support her on her tour. I was just mad though. Yeah, but I love her, and then, so it was like, nobody watched that. It's still out there. Nobody watched that. Nobody heard that. I think that thing had like 10,000 views as opposed to 10 million views on the other one.
Bad news travels fast.
Yes.
Good news nobody want to hear the good. I've been a victim of that too. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, I hear you. So that was going on, and now
so I'm still kind of like,
you're confused a little bit.
I'm like, okay, he was just mad, and at the end of the day, you're like, you're in love with this person.
So when did you start realizing about whatever the word is, narcissist, or the kind of mentality he has, and when did you start seeing this? Because obviously this is not just one thing that happened. We're just talking about one thing. It went from here to this thing, to say this thing, to this thing, to you hearing other people contacting you. To when did it start clicking in? Obviously us telling you, hey, that was wrong. You know what? Let me break it down. Let me show you what's really going on as a person on the streets, how we looking at this, and a lot of pressure from, both sides of the thing. When did they start clicking in your head? Because obviously I already had a conversation with you, and you're basically over this. This is over, right? This whole situation, you're moving on to the future. But when did this click into your mind that, you know what, this is kind of weird, and you start paying attention to his history of his paperwork and all that? When did this start clicking into you a little more,
I mean, I guess it's like a slow realization type of thing. You just kind of like every day, more and more, the more conversations I had after the fact with them, more, the more we tried to like, try to make it work, but not trying to make it work. I don't know. It's kind of like you just start realizing things. And then when this last thing popped up, I guess I really just like, whoa.
So let's talk about this last thing that popped up recently. So no disrespect to this girl, but from what I heard, tell me if this is true. Is this girl the same girl that he got pregnant? Somebody, not her, but her friend or something like that?
No.
Who is she?
Nobody that anybody knows. That she just popped up on the scene, probably like.
But she's not friends with her daughter or something like that?
She was. That's how she popped up on the scene. She started hanging out with the daughter, and they were doing a show together.
So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So she is basically a friend of her daughter, and that's who he supposedly now married to?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's like saying I have a daughter, and like I'm marrying her friend. I don't know if that sounds a little crazy to you, but to me, it sounds a little cuckoo, right? A little bit. I mean, I'm sure there's a million girls out there, older women out there, right? I mean, that just sounds a little like crazy. I mean, I can't see how you can have a super bond with, like as a, hey.
It was trying to get me to give her singing lessons, so.
Yeah, so speaking on that, does that kind of, to you, don't you feel a little like, doesn't that sound a little like sketchy? I mean, to me, it sounds sketchy as hell.
That's what really just like it just changed my, how do you say, my spirit. It affected my spirit. Like my spirit changed.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I feel you. It kind of hit you. Like
you've been around me, so you know that you can probably tell that my spirit changed, right?
Yeah. Like you got, like something really slapped you now.
Something really like just.
Yeah, like you know what? First I felt slaps, but maybe it was just the wind. But now you felt like the hammer. Like, damn, this is real.
Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah.
And obviously, so he did this. And on the outside, I've seen on different community pages, but I seen on pages like that when they posted it, and I seen on the comments. When I read the comments, I was like, everyone's thinking the same way I'm thinking. Like, what is that, her daughter? What is this? This is this. So everyone didn't see, because I'm thinking maybe I'm just kind of looking at her like she looks like a young, and no disrespect to her. She's, a woman. She's probably, whoever age and someone, but she just doesn't look like she would be with the guy who's over like in 50 years old kind of guy, right? So like a woman anywhere, if you're 50, I'm supposing 35 and up, 30 and up.
This is someone who I specifically remember the lines, she's like a daughter to me. She's like my stepdaughter. She's like a daughter to me. And her line was, he's like a dad to me.
Wow.
I remember that. So I mean, obviously he had been calling me this whole time, you know, lying about her. So that's a whole nother story.
That's another lie in the book. Yeah, I feel you.
So once you realize, hey, this person is
that's
a liar.
What probably, that's
it was
where
the
it knocked you.
lies. It was
that,
the and it was the lies too. That knocked
you
me
caught
too.
that lie right there.
The fact that you've been lying to me like this whole time, and not only that, trying to get me to go over there.
Wow.
And teach her to sing.
So he was trying to do a double. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. All right, I get it. So
but at the same time, you know, like I said, I don't fault that girl because she's young. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know him. She doesn't really know him. He's known her for less than 2 years.
Human nature. What as humans we are, we idolize people.
Yeah.
And we think someone is the greatest person, and we'll listen and bow down and surrender to that supreme being because we think they're that whatever. So that's human nature. Obviously, some people weren't taught about like idolization differences, but it's human nature. Some people they're fans and they're gonna literally kill themselves for this artist. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do what it is. But I always advocate don't do that to even my fans. Be like, hey, don't look at me as different. Look at me as just a regular homie.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's also that demeanor of people who fantasize and follow lead of idolization, and so she could be that girl, and so it's nothing wrong. That's her.
It's just it was the thing on him that clicked, not how with her.
Yeah,
him. Like, wait a minute, now this, and on top of that, that means you've been lying.
Wow, what else had you lied
freely,
about?
so like easily. You know what I'm saying? When someone's been lying like that to you over and over again, and not just to you, to his own family. So it's like, wait a minute, so you're a liar, dude. At the same time, like. Yeah, now I'm feeling that. Okay, shit. Well, you lied about something. That's a huge thing to lie about, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, while you're steady trying to get me to come back to you. So, and that's still, like I said, still at this point, I cannot go see him.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. So after all this time, has he been trying to reach out to you?
Yes.
And when he was reaching out to you, obviously we took in consideration because we've seen the stress that you were going through.
You've been around me more than anybody lately.
So we said we're going on tour, and we added you on tour with us, and you're on the tour with us with the team. You're hustling, you're doing this and that, and obviously we bring it up to you too, like, hey, you know, we got you, but hey, at the end of the day, this is how we feel. We're not gonna go and like just be screaming about it, but this is how we feel, and this is how we. Like, to me, anyone who is with the underage kid or something like that, paperwork. It is. And you know, and I know I don't want to bring it up, but people that were around us in circles that had some kind of bad jacket, whether even they're good or bad, we just have to like just distance ourselves for anything that's negative. So on that note, we started talking to you, this and that. And was he, I mean, when you're around me, I didn't see him call you too much.
Right.
But then there was this one situation that we'll get into later. Was he still reaching out to you while we're out there on the road? And like, cause I didn't see that personally, but was he for a while trying to reach out to you?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Definitely.
And was it once again manipulation? Hey, how you doing? I miss you, kind of thing, or was it more business, or what was it about?
No, it was pretty much it was always that. It was always the personal thing. I miss you, and
this is going when he announced this
try
new
to get
girl.
back on the visitation list. Try to get back on the visitation list, please. Like, I love you more than anything. Like, you're the one person on the. I'd rather see you than anybody else on this planet, and I can't see, like, you know.
Yeah. So basically, let's go to the next thing. So now you're on the road. He's calling you here and there. I mean, is this also the time when he was already with this new girl? Did he still try to reach out to you and try to be cool with you, or he kind of knew it's over, or he's still trying to mingle and dingle with you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he hadn't reached out since I found out, because he was still calling me all the way up until she put it out on the internet, right? So he was calling me up until that point, like literally the night before, probably. Yeah. And then after that, I sent him a JPay. So for y'all that don't know, prison world, JPay is how you can like email a prisoner and it can get to them like in the next day.
Yeah.
Because they can't email you, but you can email them. So I just sent him that email, called him all kinds of names, and basically told him not to contact me ever again. So he didn't for a while, and then
here we come in the picture. So then let's get to that.
We're on tour.
Yeah, so we're on tour. We already told,
it was the last night of our tour.
Yeah,
for that section.
Yes, we're like, hey, we don't associate with that kind of stuff, this and that, blah blah. So it was one day, last show, successful, sold out show in Colorado. Had a great time.
Yeah,
we're all ready to leave the next day back to our. Obviously, people missed their flights too because of that.
Everybody missed their flight.
But yeah,
because of that.
So I'm in my room just chilling, about to go to sleep, and then Destiny, weird stuff. But I never call nobody FaceTime. So I call. Shouts out Lazy Dub from Arizona. So just to let everybody know, this is not a California versus Texas thing.
No.
This is just a reality man thing, right? So Lazy, he's from Arizona. Same etiquettes, no matter where you're from, Texas, California, Florida, whatever. He's from Arizona. And he obviously felt the same way situation. And I'm on the FaceTime with him. He's just showing me, because there's a guy in one of the rooms. He was a little drunk and he was falling apart. So like, show me this fool.
We were just doing we were having an after party. Yeah. So first of all, it was an after party
for the fans. Yeah,
for the fans after the show. It's late. We're still up for some reason. We're still up late. We've been talking.
Exactly. So I'm in my room. I'm like, I'm just going to sleep. I'm chilling. But I can't sleep. So I'm like, put me on FaceTime, dog. Let me see this drunk guy over there falling apart. So he puts it on him. This guy's falling apart. Then within like 5 minutes later, a phone call starts ringing, ding-a-ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding-a-ding. And then I can hear Lazy like, who the fuck is this? And I guess he has your phone. And he's like...
And I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's like...
I didn't have my phone with me, so I don't even know what's going on.
He's like, who the hell is this? This calling from prison. What? You still... this guy's still calling you?
Well, it says his name.
Okay, so whatever it was, he like...
On the call.
Boom. So
it says his name, yeah.
So he answers the phone call. I'm on FaceTime still while he puts my phone down, kind of, and I'm still listening to the whole him talk. He's like, he's saying all this, like a man to man. Hey, you no good. You a piece of boom, boom, boom. Like the shit's going on. Like this guy's sitting back. Like I can hear him on speaker.
I honestly didn't think it was real. Like I thought it was a dream. I was having a dream.
So I mean, look at so I heard that, and then basically. He was like, oh, but I'm the great. Like, he said stuff to me that was like, I never heard the man speak. But when I was in my bed and I heard him saying these kind of things, he said, and this wasn't even on the footage that we have. He was literally talking to him for 10, 15 minutes before there was footage of this. Yeah. But there was things he's like, hey, I feel sorry for you if you're poor and you don't have money and I understand your problems, sir. But you know what? It's understandable why you're mad at me. But I'm rich and I can help you. Like, he was saying stuff that like what? And then Lazy was like, I don't give a damn. And Lazy's well off. Lazy's got money. Lazy ain't no chump. Lazy's has businesses and he's a real man.
I've known Lazy for
and
10
he's a street
years,
and he's a street dude.
Yeah.
In Arizona, and he's talking to him like he's some poor kid in the ghetto that like, I can change your life. Chill out, bro. And Lazy's like, I don't give a damn, homie. You are this and that. Woo, 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 woo. And this guy's still trying to brainwash the guy. So I'm laying in my bed like, wow, this guy's trying to brainwash this grown man that he's thinking is maybe a lame, and he's trying to tell him, chill out, bro.
This is at 5:30 in the morning where we're at. So it's like 6:30 in the morning in Houston or whatever.
Exactly.
So we're like, and I'm not going to lie. Like, me and Athena were there. It was me and Athena, Lazy, that guy that was kind of out of there. And then I think there was like one fan left in there or something like that. And then he ended up leaving. But I just remember that I had been drinking. So I don't even remember. Remember too much.
Well, you
Athena or I do not remember. Me and Athena were just like, what was this real? Like, did this happen?
Well, yeah, it happened.
So, so I'm just
So I mean, and then you're gonna roll with the punches because it is what it is. And and then at the end of the day, he was telling him what's up and this and that, and the words that I was seeing from his side of the point of view was like, damn, this guy thinks he's like, I'm the number one artist. Everyone likes me. I'm the number one, bro. You're talking to the number one. He's like, I don't give a damn if you're number 1, number 10, number 20. You got a jacket on, you and this. So we got to a heated debate. Obviously, then eventually I came to the room, see what's going on. Everything was up in the purse and said what it is. And at the end of the day, I think that was really like to the point where like it really hit you in the heart to realize that this situation is is crazy. And no disrespect to whatever music someone did or someone was a fan of the music, but to me as a personal person, anyone who's a Chester from where I'm from, that just doesn't get no like play and love from my side. And I understand you being in that situation. So now you're in a situation where you have to choose fences now. Like someone who tried to hang you coming back to you, but then someone who on the other side, is coming right back. So now there's probably no place for you because that side is not trusting you. And now you've seen both sides of the picture. How does that make you feel? And are you trying to move on with your music now? And are you like, what's the future goals for you now?
So, like when it comes to that, like it's tough because I'm a loyal person. So you've been loyal to something for what, a decade and a half, 16 years? That was in 2006. I was loyal to that even before 2017, 18 years, loyal to one thing, to one person, one brand that I helped build. That's why I'm always going to be Dopehouse, like to the fans, you know what I mean? Because I helped hold that down for so long, just like Juan Gotti helped hold that down for so long, just like, to the fans, we are Dopehouse, you know what I mean?
We are Dopehouse. That sounds like a new label to me.
Sounds like a new label.
We are Dopehouse.
For real.
But yeah, we'll keep going. Yeah.
Shout out to Athena again. No, but no, and that's how it's affected me. So it's like, but at the same time, like, it's like at one point you're like, man, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. But then what else can I do? Like me and Pinks, we had already started this oldies project, which we're remaking oldies. We're flipping them, actually. We're not remaking the same oldie. We're flipping them into new songs, all original songs. And so I feel like, timing's everything.
Yeah.
So obviously all this happened for a reason. And like, while I'm in here creating and trying to get
and you're on tour with us now.
And I've been on tour with you.
So you're not you got support from people that are out there now, to help build you up and keep you out of that, the negative energy and the bad stuff that, whatever is going on in different situations. So now you have a thing. So, I mean,
performing has always been my life, touring and performing live, you know what I'm saying? Just like with you. So it's always been my life. So as long as people just still want me out there, they still want to hear my voice, they still want to hear my songs, that's where I want to be. That's my life. It's been my life.
Yeah.
So, obviously he didn't break me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, obviously he didn't break me because we've been touring. We've still been doing shows after all this stuff with him saying that, you'll never work in this town again type of mentality. Wow. That was his thing. Like, I can
without
stop
me,
you.
your career's over.
Yeah,
and then you probably had more shows now than you ever had. I mean, not to discredit the past, but your shows are kind of going up there. You're on the road.
I haven't had this many shows since like 2014. I think that was my last peak of like a lot of shows. And then of course I was on tour with Quinto Sol. We were doing a lot of stuff then before the pandemic, but not like right now.
Yeah, and
we've
now
done a lot.
And you got we'll talk about that later. But before we wrap it up,
and shouts out to Coulter.
Yeah, Coulter.
Hold it down on the road for us.
Yeah.
Like, the whole
so
thing.
Coulter, he's I want to explain about Coulter. He's a new kid that's on the block, and he doesn't know about the rap game and this and that. And he's out there opening doors and trying to make things happen. And he's been out with you on the tour.
Yes.
And he also works with me. Mm-hmm. And, we're giving Real Clecha a little bit more knowledge of how the streets work and stuff like that. He's a normal, good kid. Shouts out Culture.
Yeah, he is.
But, back to him saying, so wrapping it up real quick. So
it's because Culture, I'm saying that shout out to Culture because he's kind of been out there with me. So him and I were by ourselves with a lot of this stuff. So he was kind of there to see a lot of things.
Yeah. And there was a situation that I had with him that we'll it's nothing to really talk about.
It was just an accidental thing where he
kind of got in little trouble because he didn't know what it was, but we let him know after, and he won't make that mistake again. But it's nothing to do negative.
No,
it's some stuff. So he's just learning as he goes. But definitely, man. Any shots out? Music wise coming up, tour wise, and I guess we'll do another podcast and get more detail because we like to talk about facts and situation in my spot. And I'm not a great podcaster and I'm not a great talker, but I'm trying to be. You know what I'm saying? If you try to be something, you can be something. So, hey, we're trying this podcast, and no one has ever got the intel from Carolyn Rodriguez.
No one.
Who was right there with SPM. Once again, personally, I'm not a person to hate on anybody, but people with allegations on like that, I definitely do not mess with that kind of situation. And obviously she's a female, and then we're helping her out to understand a little bit of stuff. And shouts out, and yeah, man.
Shouts
anything
out
else?
to you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think. Is there anything that we left behind? I mean, I'm just trying to.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we left behind, but I guess we could always pick it back
We
up
always
on
come back.
another-
Yeah, we always come back. We'll let the fans decide and just ask questions.
And let the music speak too
Yeah,
for
let
it,
the
because
music
my side is definitely going to be coming out in this oldies project.
And I feel like you should do a song talking about this whole circumstance, and that would be dope too. And shoot, we'll see what's up with that, and maybe we can help produce it, something like that. But other than that, man, thank you for coming through. Shouts out. Let her know your Instagram plugs, whatever there is.
Carolyn Rodriguez at Carolyn Rodriguez. It's either Carolyn Rodriguez or Medicine Girl for all the information. Carolyn Rodriguez Music on TikTok. The real Carolyn Rodriguez on Facebook. I got my Facebook back, so yeah, I know I need to be on TikTok more, because I see a lot of shit on TikTok about me, but I don't ever get to do it myself. But Pinks and I did go live last night, so people could get a.
And I like to say something before we end. I like to do this interview because I feel like what's right is right. What is justice, what is real is real, and being a homie and being in this stuff, like we need to educate the younger people to understand, like, music is music. Respect your artist, show love, all that. But we can't be blind-fated about bad things about someone might have. Somebody might be something. We have to put that in light and understand that. I know there's a lot of people that are blinded to because of celebrities, but we have to educate our community that we need to take individual as what it is. From
especially when you got people doing things for clout now. You got so many clout chasers right now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things, from racism, from doing different things. We can't follow the trends of just, I'm gonna do this. We have to judge everybody by individuality, and we have to know that, and we have to understand that we can't look at other people. Everyone's human, so we have to look at people and judge people the way it is. And it's very important that we educate the people about facts about this situation with you and SPM, because there's a lot of chatter about SPM. And we have to speak upon, if you're a homie, and not even a homie, if you're just a regular man that has kids or something that understands that, you have to speak on it. Let the people decide after if they like to listen to the music or not. That's on them, you know what I'm saying? But as a man, I have to speak on it, and I have to educate the community and the gente that listens to my music, because some of my people might be listening to that music also. So that's my perspective. And obviously you had your journey, and you've seen both sides of the story, and it's
different when your personal life gets put out, and it's not just music anymore. Now it's your personal life; it's public. And you didn't do it; someone else did it. So it's like you didn't have a choice in the matter. Now you're like, shit, like, what do I do in this situation? Like, who would know what to do in that situation? So I didn't say anything for a long time, but man, shit just keeps happening. Okay, now this, now this.
Speaking of that, Carolyn has never spoke negative about nobody that at the end of the day is already considered negative, but she has kept her mouth quiet about it, and that's pretty solid on her part. So much love. But hey, it's a saying, like, sometimes when it's negative, you got to speak up on it, and you got to educate the people, because you might have been a fool, but if you don't help somebody else, they could be the same position and be fooled. And it could be young females that are dating guys who are liars, or dating, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to take in consideration, you have to know, and love is blind, but that's not really true. We have to look at love in a situation. Love has to be respect, and they have to respect both ways. So there's innocent, like in our time, we're going way off subject.
That is why, that song, that "What Is Love," baby. That, I understand that song now. Like, it's weird. Like, you start understanding songs when you're older about love, because you're like, now I know that this isn't really this. This isn't really
exactly.
what.
I mean, there's girls in jail. Like, I'm gonna tell like it is. There's girls in jail. When I was in jail, I had 50 girls online, and I'm writing to them like, "You're my girl," whatever, woo woo. But at the end of the day, a lot of females fell for this, and then the guy comes out and she's all really in love with him, and he don't really give a damn.
So many times, yeah.
So we need to educate the females also, and hey, I know guys' game is to be sold, not to be told, but hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you in there, you gotta do what you gotta do, but also we have to educate the females out there who are entrapped with not just a guy in jail, but a guy who's this, or just because this guy got money, or this because this guy looks cute to you.
Yeah.
You have to look at a person's situation.
And also let everybody know you're not just some hood rat off the streets. You know what I mean? Like, I'm an educated woman. You know, I've been in this business for a long time on the business side as well as the creative side. I'm a member of the Recording Academy. I'm an advocate for you know, the laws to change for the artists and producers. I'm on the advocacy board. I mean, like, I'm not some hood rat off the streets. You know what I mean? And I'm still here. That's why our single's still here. That's coming out. Our first one. I'm still here doing it. You didn't stop anything. You know, like, and that's my advice to all the females, to all the women that, you know, have had to go through things with a man, is like, don't let that ever stop you. That should be fuel to your fire. That should give you fuel to even go harder.
Yep. And on that note, we out of here. Much love, Mr. Capone podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. I ain't the best at doing it, but we're going to get it cracking because we with the real. So much love.
Did a great job.
Hey, we out. Oh.